shadow masks have been added to some MiSTer FPGA cores. What are shadow masks, you ask? Well, they were one of the technologies that gave classic CRTs their distinct look. Now, MiSTer gives you the option to simulate these shadow masks so you can get a look that is more similar to a CRT. This option is currently only implemented on the Super NES, NES, TurboGrafx-16, Neo Geo, Genesis, and Sega CD cores. And for now, you still have to install the shadow mask files yourself. If everything goes well with these cores, then other cores will also get these shadow masks. They seem to work best when used in conjunction with a scale filter. I still need to do more experimenting, but there is a great discussion on shadow masks on the MiSTer Discord that's helping me out. The PlayStation core for MiSTer can now officially run CD game images. Initially, Ridge Racer was shown off by the developer, and other users were able to get some other games to run. I've seen posts showing Raiden running, the RPG Star Ocean, and even Tekken. Then, the developer was able to get Gex, Crash Team Racing, Moto Racer 2, and Croc working. The core would load the entire game into memory, and this would require 2 SD-RAM modules. Using this method meant that the larger games would take several minutes to load, which made testing multiple games a pain. Well, not too long after he got Ridge Racer to be playable, the developer has now removed the 2 SD-RAM chip requirement by implementing an alternate method of loading games. With the help of the creator of the MiSTer project, HPS loading was implemented. This is the same method used by other cores that use CD images. This new method of loading makes the PlayStation core much more usable. Many vertical arcade shooters use a monitor rotated on its side so you can have much more vertical real estate. But the vertical orientation can differ for each game. Some games will be oriented to the left, while others will be oriented to the right. If the monitor has been physically oriented to the wrong side, most games did have the option in the dip switches to flip the screen in case the monitor was oriented incorrectly. System 16 games didn't offer this option, but Hotego is manually adding it to the System 16 MiSTer core. That way, you won't have to rotate your own screen if a System 16 game is appearing upside down for you. A beta core of Konami's arcade game Shaolin's Road is available for subscribers of Hotego's Patreon. The goal of the game is to use your various kicks to knock out enemy fighters. This game uses some chips that were already implemented in other cores for MiSTer, so adding it to the MiSTer project would have taken less work than a system in which no chips have been implemented. If you want your MiSTer FPGA setup to have the classic all-in-one computer look, you can build a setup yourself if you have access to a 3D printer. The creator of the MiSTer project, Alexei Melnikov, has even built his own setup. He used 3D models that are freely available on Thingiverse. These cases are not for sale, so you will have to download the 3D files and print them yourself, or have them print them for you. It would be great if someone would mass produce these cases. Having a MiSTer setup with one of these cases would be perfect for the C64, Atari ST, and Amiga cores. The Raspberry Pi Foundation recently released an update to its Raspberry Pi Zero line of devices. Called the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W, it is a $15 single board computer that comes in a tiny form factor. It is a lot more powerful than its previous version, and that extra power can now be used for a slimmer MT32 Pi for your MiSTer FPGA. Twitter user Yavi Maya has created a new Pi hat for this new version of the Pi Zero. It has the same buttons and features as other Pi hats, just with a form factor that matches that of the Pi Zero. If you do not know what the MT32 Pi project is, it's an OS for the Raspberry Pi that mimics a Roland MT32 sound module. These sound modules were used by retro computers to give games more realistic music. The MT32 Pi is supported on the AO46, Amiga, Atari ST, and X68000 core. So that's it for this episode. I provided links to all my sources in the description. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and its bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.